Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 4.
Changes in the air for North Alabama. I'm WAAY 31 Chief Meteorologist Taylor Canoose, tracking finally for the first time in November some rain showers. I'll walk you through our forecast for the evening and when that rain's going to scoot across the entire area coming up. A protester for the Decatur police shooting death of Steve Perkins arrested for allegedly littering. We're live in Decatur with the details on that arrest.
27 deaf students from across the South got the chance to experience a day of space camp right here in the Rocket City. We have the details on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for WAAY 31 News at 4. I'm Marie Waxel.
And I'm Dan Schaefer. Clouds moved in today, a sure sign that the weather is changing.
That's right. We are expecting a bit of rain this evening. Let's go ahead and check in with Chief Meteorologist Taylor Canoose, tracking some much needed rain moving in from our west.
It's been about 10 days since we've had even a drop of rain in North Alabama, so we are well overdue for some moisture. Let's get right to 31 triple Doppler, and we will start with our Muscle Shoals live Doppler radar because we have showers right around the radar around the shoals at this hour. It's hit and miss in nature. Some light to moderate showers ongoing in parts of Colbert and Lauderdale counties at the moment. For the rest of us, it is cloudy but largely dry at this moment. 31 triple Doppler across the area showing dry conditions for those near and east of I-65, but that is expected to change later on tonight. The broader view shows a lot of rain to our west, and eventually this is going to move our way. Even a handful of weak thunderstorms in North Mississippi, and yes, there is a possibility at a couple of weak thunderstorms in North Alabama later this evening and overnight tonight. Severe weather is not going to happen for us, but a couple of heavy downpours would be welcome and is a possibility. Through this evening, we'll see hit and miss showers continue to develop. Again, those isolated storms a possibility as well. Those of you farther north will have the better chance at rain initially, but eventually this rain becomes widespread late in the night and early on Friday, and that's going to be our best chance at some much needed moisture. So bottom line, off and on rain expected tonight. A few non-severe storms in the mix. The heaviest rain will fall north of the Tennessee River. I'll walk you through our projected rain totals coming up in a couple minutes. Thanks, Taylor. Don't be surprised by the weather. Download the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. You'll get access to our 31 triple Doppler right in the palm of your hand. It is free for your devices. The rain may bring some relief to the wildfire danger here in Alabama. It's so bad we're now under a statewide no burn order. It's an effort to limit wildfires like this one that burned across 330 acres in Morgan County this week. The order means you can't burn leaves, debris, or even start a campfire.
Well, this is some new video of the Alabama Forestry Commission. They posted it of another wildfire. This is the view from a forester's bulldozer in the middle of a firefight in Tuscaloosa. That fire destroyed a couple of buildings before it was contained.
Hey, police, go back!
Shattered in 6 seconds. WAAY 31 coverage you can count on in Decatur this afternoon. Major developments today in the investigation of Steve Perkins' death at the hands of Decatur police.
We now know after 6 weeks of investigating, the Decatur Police Department completed their internal investigation. Today, Decatur Police Chief Todd Pinion said a predetermination hearing will be held to review the report, and then, if department violations are found, disciplinary actions would come from Mayor Tab Bowling's office.
Also today, one man who protested over Perkins' shooting death is now accusing Decatur police of wrongfully targeting and arresting him early Tuesday morning. We're going live now to WAAY 31's Paige Meyer, who has exclusive video of this arrest happening. Paige.
Dan Marie, Cornelius Eccles tells me that he believes his major public presence and involvement in the Perkins movement has played a major role in his arrest. Now, Cornelius tells me he and his cousin were talking in their car in their driveway when he noticed a Decatur police car pass by multiple times. Eccles didn't think much of it, drove off, only to get pulled over a block away. Eccles pulled over and says the officer approaching his vehicle claimed to see Eccles throw a baggie out of his car. The next thing he knew, Eccles says around 9 officers were on the scene with a canine unit to search his car without his consent. In the video, you can see police escorting Eccles with his hands behind his back, forcing him to walk backwards. Eccles says he believes what happened to him occurred because the officer targeted him.
If you don't like me, you don't like me. Don't send me to jail, man. You know what I mean? Don't put false charges on me. Like, if you don't like me, just don't like me, man. Like, don't mess with I have kids. I have a family.
Eccles was booked in the Madison County Jail for failure to display insurance, operating a vehicle with an expired tag, and criminal littering. He calls it an effort to silence him during protests. Now, Decatur Councilman Billy Jackson tells me he truly hopes that the Decatur Police Department would not retaliate against citizens for protesting for something they feel passionate about. No, I did reach out to the Decatur Police Department about Eccles' arrest, and they declined to provide a statement. Reporting live in Decatur, Paige Meyer, WAAY 31 News. Coverage you can count on.
New safety measures are being put in place in Madison County schools. We broke the information in a WAAY 31 News app push on a new weapons detection system that's being implemented. School leaders say training began this week on the open gate system at Hazel Green High School. The weapons detection system will be installed on every campus in the coming days. A Safe Schools grant from the State Education Department paid for the new safety devices. Open gate is the same system used at the VBC and other facilities here. Here's how it works. Students walk through two freestanding pillars that screen people with backpacks and purses. It's designed to detect metal objects that match pre-programmed characteristics.
The FBI is investigating a batch of envelopes containing potentially dangerous substances that were sent to election facilities in Washington and Georgia. We reached out to Governor Kay Ivey's office. A spokesperson said, "We have not received any." ABC's Melissa Adan has more.
The FBI says several envelopes that tested positive for the potentially deadly substance fentanyl were sent to election offices in Spokane, Washington state. At least one additional letter was sent to a ballot counting center in Fulton County, Georgia, and authorities say it came from the same batch of letters sent to Spokane. The election offices in both states have been evacuated. Hazmat crews and police descending on the ballot counting center in Spokane. Officials there saying the substance inside the envelopes tested positive for fentanyl. But in another case, the powder was baking soda.
They brought it to me. We notified the proper authorities. The building was evacuated.
Police in Tacoma, Washington say there was a message inside one envelope received by election workers that said something to the effect of stopping the election. In Georgia, officials warning election workers there to take precautions when handling mail after intercepting the suspicious envelope sent to the Fulton County election facility.
This is domestic terrorism, and it needs to be condemned by anyone that holds elected office and anyone that wants to hold elected office anywhere in America.
The discovery delaying some vote counting in both states. Officials say no one was injured in Fulton County or Spokane. The Justice Department says the FBI and U.S. Postal Inspection Service are investigating.
But we want to make sure that people understand that election security is our highest priority.
Officials say no one was injured in Fulton County or Spokane. The Justice Department says the FBI and U.S. Postal Inspection Service are investigating. Election officials in Oregon say a suspicious piece of mail was also received in that state, which led to the closure of some election offices. That incident is also under investigation. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
New at 4, many companies across the country have experimented with a 4-day work week for their employees. Now, a new report on a person's well-being at work is providing a little more insight into the types of work schedules that people really prefer.
Experts say a 4-day work week, though, might not be the best for everyone. Ivan Rodriguez joins us live from Atlanta this afternoon to look at the benefits and potential drawbacks of a massive change to workplace culture. Hi, Ivan.
Dan Marie, studies of 4-day work weeks have found generally positive results in terms of employee productivity and also well-being, but experts say it really comes down to how employees are scheduling out those 4 days and also individual work style. Once considered a fantasy, more and more companies are experimenting with the 4-day work week, testing what's always been the norm.
There were obviously benefits for sort of individuals in the sense of having more time for family, rest and recovery.
But the benefits don't stop with the employees.
Having those boundaries really encourages companies to think about their processes, make them work more effectively, and make them more resilient and sustainable organizations.
When people were asked how different options would impact their well-being at work, 77% of U.S. workers said a 4-day, 40-hour work week would have a positive impact, according to a new Gallup survey. But experts say those 10-hour days could lead to burnout.
It's a question of, do you like a 3-day weekend more than you hate 10-hour work days?
The COVID-19 pandemic forced employers to embrace work from home and hybrid options. But now economic uncertainty is leading large companies to order their employees to return to the office. So would a 4-day work week ever be embraced by the corporate world?
We've seen a divergence between the largest companies really doubling down against flexibility over the past few months, but flexibility is still thriving among smaller and mid-sized businesses that are using that benefit, and flexibility is a benefit, as a way to attract workers who wouldn't necessarily consider them otherwise.
Experts also say people who always have to work on site might get a greater benefit from a 4-day work week because it provides more flexibility compared to a remote job that already has some of that flexibility built in. Dan, Marie?
Ivan, I worked a 4-day work week years and years and years ago. Kind of like that option. But what are the other options that, other than a 4-day work week, that were popular in this survey?
So this was interesting. Other ones that were highly regarded by these respondents, one of them was employers offering a set number of paid mental health days throughout the year. That was followed by limiting the amount of work employees are expected to do beyond the regular workday.
Ivan Rodriguez reporting live for us. Appreciate it. Thanks. Coming up, Veterans Day programs are scheduled across North Alabama. We'll have the details on what Russellville City Schools are doing to honor their veterans.
Being an average Joe, being just just being a crispy fella, there are so many other people that probably deserve it more because I'm just James. But I'm very honored to sit there and actually, be selected.
He's the face of the 2023 Huntsville Veterans Day Parade. All new at 4 will introduce you to this year's Grand Marshal, who shares his story of grit and determination.
Coming up next, I'll walk you through our planner for this evening, when this rain is going to move across the area, and the latest update on our drought conditions here in North Alabama.
Our WAAY 31 Hero of the Day salute goes out to Army veteran April Thomas. April served as an engine mechanic for Chinook helicopters when she was deployed to Somalia and as a Black Hawk helicopter phase maintenance team leader in Kuwait. She's an active volunteer with the North Alabama Veterans and Fraternal Organizations Coalition, Legacy for Korean War Veterans Foundation, and VFW Post 2702, among other organizations. From all of us here at WAAY 31, thank you, April, for your continuous service to our country and community.
New at 4 and only on WAAY 31, honor and respect. As we prepare to honor our nation's heroes this weekend, I recently caught up with the man set to lead Huntsville's annual Veterans Day Parade through the streets of downtown this Saturday. Meet Army veteran James West.
We were driving down red, white, and blue, and we were just being kids. And then one day, my brother and I, we were just driving around. He's like, "Let's go join the Army." He's like, "Okay." 10 days later, I was in basic.
Like so many others, James West was moved to enlist after the 9/11 terror attacks. In March of 2003, he was part of the first phase of soldiers who entered Iraq.
I was an 88 Mike, a truck driver.
Running supplies to and from Baghdad.
It was just a lot of 14-hour drives back and forth.
Less than 2 years later, West deployed a second time.
I was with 1st 187 Infantry out of Fort Campbell, the Rakkasans.
One day, after finishing a patrol, he sent his men to eat and rest while he refueled and reloaded the trucks. It was June 2nd, 2006.
Apparently, when maintenance was putting all the steel on the trucks to try to protect us from the IEDs because we were getting hit all the time, they put it over top of the hot battery cable, and it sent electricity through the whole vehicle, blew the fuel tank up in my face while I was fueling it up. My shirt was like falling off, my skin was melted, and one of my privates came across, and I'm like, "How's my face?" Because I was newly married. And so they took me into the office, the medics came, they wrapped me up, and then I walked to the ambulance. They drove me to the aid station, put myself up on the gurney. I thought they were just going to bandage me up and I was going to go back. But last thing I heard was the catheter's in, and I was all confused because I didn't feel a thing, and I'm like, "What?"
2.5 months later, James West woke up in the burn unit in San Antonio.
My wife was right there when I woke up, and I'm sitting there thinking I'm still in Iraq, and so she's right there, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" Worried about that.
40.5% of his body burned.
Mainly from my mid-stomach all the way up, obviously missing some of my ear, and a lot of nerve damage, mild TBI from the 6 different bruises in the brain from all the explosions, nerve damage in my foot, just a lot of nerve damage, I guess, is the main one. Burns affect my life daily because of the sun, the heat, but the nerve damage is what gives me my chronic pain every single day, every moment of every day. So that's the one that affects me the most.
With his wife by his side, he was determined to fight his way through recovery.
They were trying to get me to use my hands again, had to learn how to walk again. That was rough.
His plans for a 30-year career cut short in an instant.
It was going to happen eventually, just I was wrong place, wrong time. But positive note, it was me, not one of my soldiers. So, there's always a positive to everything, right?
He was medically discharged after 7 years, 1 month of service.
I love the Army. I still love the Army. I still work for the Army.
West and his wife have been married 18 years now and have 3 kids. They've called North Alabama home for just over a decade, and he's an advocate for burn survivors. Giving back when he can, as he continues to inspire and lead others on his recovery journey.
Well, James West credits the Semper Fi Community Task Force with changing his life shortly after he moved to North Alabama. You can hear him explain what happened and how they helped when you open up this story on WAAYTV.com. Don't forget, you can see James West and a host of other veterans and organizations that support them on Saturday for Huntsville's annual Veterans Day Parade. The fun steps off at 11 a.m. through downtown Huntsville.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust with 31 Triple Doppler.
And I know we need rain, but hopefully we can dodge those raindrops for the Veterans Day parade on Saturday. More on that weekend forecast in just a sec, but I do want to start with the latest on our drought conditions and, of course, unsettling news to see here. Everyone in the red here is under extreme drought, the level 4 out of 5, but new today, parts of Jackson and DeKalb County on the level 5 out of 5, exceptional drought for parts of those counties. This is the first time any part of Alabama has seen that exceptional drought since back in December of 2016, about 7 years ago. That's just how significant the dry weather has been here recently. For the time being, we are dry in Huntsville, but I expect that to change later on tonight. It's been actually pretty comfortable out there with temperatures in the 70s under those cloudy skies. Wind's not too much of a problem out there this afternoon. Low to mid 70s can be found across all of North Alabama at this moment. Rain chances will be climbing for Huntsville and surrounding areas as we roll into this evening, and we'll see temperatures steady in the 60s throughout the evening as well. Let's get right back to 31 triple Doppler. We are dry in the wide majority of the eastern half of our area, but rain beginning to move into the Shoals region. These are light to moderate showers. Don't be shocked if we see a couple of weak, non-severe storms pop up this evening. That is a possibility. And actually, that's something to cheer for because that would provide us a little bit of enhancement of our rain totals, and we will take every drop we can get, but the heavier the rain, the better off we will be here in North Alabama. Here's your evening forecast. Hit and miss showers and isolated storms expected across the region. Later tonight is when these will become more widespread. So as I roll through future radar into tomorrow morning, you can see around 3 o'clock it starts to spread a little bit farther east and become a little bit more consistent. I expect that to be the case for many of us when you head outside tomorrow morning. So plan on a slower than normal Friday morning drive. Give yourself a few more minutes than you normally would. That rain may linger through about lunchtime on Friday, but shortly after that, we should see that come to an end. And I do anticipate dry conditions for the majority of North Alabama by the time we get to Friday evening. How much rain are we going to see? It's going to vary. For those of you in Sand Mountain, less than a quarter inch expected, but there is going to be a corridor here around northwest Alabama where a ½ inch to up to 1 inch of rain is possible. That would be the heaviest rain we have seen anywhere in our area since back in August. So that would be very welcome to see, and hopefully it pans out for us. Here's our forecast for tomorrow. Showers early in the day, cloudy the entire day, and that is going to keep us much cooler tomorrow than we have been recently. That cooler weather here to stay this weekend with low 60s for your highs on both Saturday and Sunday. And yes, I am tracking more chances for rain over the weekend. Veterans Day morning, good chance it stays dry, but showers are expected to move in from the south during the afternoon, and from that point through Saturday night into Sunday morning, a decent chance at some more much needed rain. So we have 2 opportunities for some rainfall from tonight through the weekend, and it may pan out to be more than we have seen in quite some time. Even more rain chances coming our way for the middle and tail end of next week. High temperatures stagnant in the 60s through most of next week as well. We'll be right back after this.
Last night's Country Music Awards was definitely a defining moment for many country music stars, especially one woman in particular.
Lainey Wilson.
There were 2 more calls for her name that night. Lainey Wilson, the first woman to win the CMA's Entertainer of the Year since Taylor Swift won it back in 2011. Wilson won 5 awards in all last night, including Album of the Year and Female Vocalist of the Year.
I'm very proud to be a part of this generation of country music. They all look different, they all sound different, they all have different stories, they all come from different places, and I think it's really important for that to be a thing.
And you have a chance to see that big CMA Award winner perform live in Huntsville. You saw Lainey Wilson win the CMA Entertainer of the Year and 4 other awards in the broadcast last night right here on WAAY 31. And you can catch her live in concert December 8th at the VBC's Probst Arena. A dog on a simple stroll suddenly faces a life-threatening situation. How Narcan was used to save that dog's life.
A child with Down syndrome left on a school bus and never arrived at school. We have the latest developments on this case in a live report.
And it is so good to see finally some rain out in the shoals this afternoon. Even a few showers passing near Huntsville at this hour. The latest look at 31 Triple Doppler coming your way after the break.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 4:30.
I'm WAAY 31 Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust. I'm tracking rainfall finally on 31 Triple Doppler after days on end of dry weather. I'll walk you through how long this rain's going to stick around and more chances for the weekend coming up.
A mother is left angry after her child with Down syndrome was left alone on a school bus. We're live with new information on this incident.
And a welcoming surprise to elementary students in Madison City. We have details on a $15,000 grant from an unexpected donor. Thanks for staying with us for WAAY 31 News at 4:30. I'm Marie Waxel.
And I'm Dan Schaefer. Rain is finally here. It is enough, though, is it enough to bust our drought?
Let's hope so. We definitely will take whatever we can get. Let's check in now with WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Canoost, who's monitoring these conditions right now for us.
Yeah, and we all know it's not going to completely wipe out the drought, but it's a starting point, and we will have more chances to come in the extended forecast as well. Let's start out in the shoals. We have at least some raindrops out there. The pavement's wet, and that's more than we've been able to say so far this month of November. Currently 70 degrees in the shoals, and we'll get right to 31 triple Doppler, where some off and on rain is moving through Lauderdale, parts of Colbert County, and moving into Limestone County as well, especially just to the north of Athens. Here in Madison County, we have had some passing showers close to Hazel Green, and even a stray shower fell on Montesano here at the station not too long ago. So that rain beginning to push eastward a little bit. A couple more showers in southern Marshall County as well, not too far away from Arab and Guntersville. Over time, we will see more of this rain spread farther east across the area. It's very much going to be hit and miss for the next several hours. There could be a couple of cracks of thunder in the mix here, but no severe weather is expected. Moving in through the night tonight and into tomorrow morning, you can expect a good chance at rain and some wet weather for that Friday morning commute across North Alabama. Cooler weather expected at that time as well. I'm tracking additional chances at rain as we head toward the weekend. More on that and more on the football forecast. Will we have wet weather for those games? I'll let you know coming up in a few minutes.
We need it, but we don't want rain out. Sorry. What a conundrum to be in, right? Stay ahead of the weather by downloading our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. It'll give you 24/7 access to hourly and weekly forecasts right there at your fingertips. And best of all, it is free to download. New at 4:30, still no action this afternoon from the Madison County School District after a child was left on a school bus.
10-year-old Journey Brown's mother says her daughter has not returned to school since Tuesday's incident. WAAY 31's Jillian Kay is following up on this story we broke just 24 hours ago. She's live at the Madison County Transportation Facility to give us their response.
And Jillian, we understand you also reached out to district leaders as well.
Yeah, Dan and Marie, I reached out to a spokesperson for the Madison County school system. It says the district is unable to provide a statement at this time. However, the district did confirm Brown was left on her Moores Mill Intermediate school bus and ended up in the Madison County Transportation Department parking lot. Journey's mother says she is nonverbal and has Down syndrome. I also reached out to all 5 Madison County School Board members. Nathan Curry was the only one available and provided this statement. It reads in part, "The information I received from district leadership is deeply concerning. I do know the district is taking appropriate disciplinary steps in regards to this matter. What happened was completely unacceptable and cannot happen again." Now, Journey's mother tells me there's a video from inside the school bus that day, but she has not been shown that video. As far as what's next for Journey, her mother says that she will never be allowed to ride the school bus again. Live in Huntsville, Jillian Kay, WAAY 31 News.
New at 4:30, students in Madison City Schools received a welcome surprise this morning from the city's newest franchise. BJ's Wholesale Club presented a $15,000 grant to purchase musical instruments for the school's elementary school programs. This year marks the first time each school will have its own music instructor to improve the school's fine arts.
You can't underestimate the fine arts and what they mean. Studies show students engaged in those early on perform better academically, but it's just a great pathway for kids to express themselves, and we want to invest even more in our community and our arts in our schools and give our students as many possibilities as we can.
And you don't have to wait much longer. BJ's Wholesale Club opens its first store in Alabama tomorrow in the city of Madison. A massive thank you to the men and women who served our country ahead of Veterans Day. Check it out. More than 500 students from Russellville and West Elementary Schools cheered as veterans, active duty service members, and first responders paraded across their campus.
I liked their hats that they wore.
Yeah.
Did you want to say thank you or anything?
Thank you. We love veterans. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day.
That is the cutest video you will see all day. The students also participated in a Salute to Veterans program with performances from both schools' choirs and a speech from Russellville High School's JROTC instructor. Well, some hearing impaired students across the South had the opportunity to spend the day at the Space and Rocket Center for their own version of Space Camp. It's all in collaboration with 3 programs in order to get those students a day of fun. Teachers for the deaf and hard of hearing also gained Space Academy resources for use in their classrooms. An engineer, a deaf engineer, through a translator, says active experiences are important for learning.
I want them to learn everything they can, but I really want to make sure that they experience as much as they can, not just sit in a classroom and listen to lectures, but get involved and really be active with it and feel like, you know, they're in space, they're on the shuttle.
What an incredible opportunity for these kids. Howell also says this experience gave those students a clear idea of what space exploration is like.
5 Republican candidates vying for the White House are hoping for a bounce in their poll numbers after the 3rd presidential debate. That debate once again did not include frontrunner Donald Trump, who chose to skip the event and hold a rally nearby instead. ABC's Justin Finch has the highlights.
In the wake of former President Trump skipping his 3rd straight Republican debate, some of his opponents insisted his absence is proof Trump's not fit to be the party's 2024 nominee.
Anybody who's going to be spending the next year and a half of their life focusing on keeping themselves out of jail and courtrooms cannot lead this party.
A shrinking field of 5 Republicans returning to the debate stage in Miami one day after GOP candidates and causes suffered brutal off-year election losses. The candidates clashing over abortion, the issue that apparently drove Democratic victories.
I would challenge both Nikki and Ron to join me at a 15-week limit.
So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban these state laws.
The candidates also tackling foreign policy, appearing unified in supporting Israel's war with Hamas.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the job once and for all with these butchers, Hamas.
You cannot negotiate with evil. You have to destroy it.
But splitting on aid to Ukraine.
Frame this as some kind of battle between good versus evil. Don't buy it. Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy.
The last time that we turned our back on a shooting war in Europe, 500,000 Americans were killed in Europe to defeat Hitler.
Tempers flaring between Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley when debating a TikTok ban after Ramaswamy mentioned her daughter.
Well, her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time, so you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer.
The Republican National Committee announced his 4th debate will be held in Alabama in partnership with News Nation. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Alabama, as he mentioned, will host the 4th presidential debate for the first time in the state's history. It'll happen in Tuscaloosa. That debate will be moderated by SiriusXM's Megyn Kelly, News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas, and the Washington Free Beacon's Ileana Johnson. Stick with WAAY 31 for debate coverage you can count on. Israel has agreed, that is, to daily pauses in the fighting with Hamas. The Biden administration calls it a step in the right direction to help civilians reach safer areas. But those pauses are very limited. Israel will conduct 4-hour pauses with announcements made 3 hours in advance. The IDF says if Hamas takes advantage of these pauses to initiate combat, Israel will take action in response. One Palestinian woman who escaped Gaza says she finally feels safe.
Last night, it was the first night that I felt sleep, my children too. So for us, for the first time that we feel somehow safe.
Meanwhile, efforts continue to free hostages taken by Hamas during the group's October 7th terror attack on Israel. NASA's global partnership expands to include Bulgaria. The Balkan nation became the 32nd country to sign on to the Artemis Accords. NASA says more countries are expected to sign the accords in the months and years ahead. The agreement is a blueprint for working with international partners to establish a safe, peaceful, and prosperous future in space.
A weight loss drug approved by the FDA is being called a game changer. What experts have to say about this new drug? New details now on the latest weight loss drug approved by the FDA. Research for Zepbound showed promising results, with a third of the people in one clinical trial losing around 60 pounds when taking the highest dose. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the details.
A new weight loss drug will be hitting the market soon. Zepbound has now received approval by the FDA, and with the majority of Americans considered either obese or overweight, many doctors believe it could be a game changer.
When you have 70% of the population who's overweight or obese, that's how significant it is.
The FDA cleared Zepbound for adults who are obese or overweight and have at least one weight-related condition like high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. It should be used along with a low-calorie diet and exercise. The drug's active ingredient is tirzepatide. It's the same that's used in the type 2 diabetes drug Mounjaro. In recent years, the FDA has also approved Wegovy for weight loss, which has a similar active ingredient to another diabetes drug, Ozempic. However, Zepbound works slightly differently.
Targets two hormones, whereas Ozempic really works on one that increase the feeling of fullness, decrease hunger, slows the GI tract.
The FDA's decision opens the door to possibly having the drug covered by insurance. Heather Winterstein of Brooklyn, Mississippi says she lost 92 pounds over 11 months using Mounjaro off-label. She initially received a discount from the manufacturer, but once that promotion ran out, her insurance didn't cover it.
It was literally heartbreaking to lose the coverage for that, because it not only changed my weight, but it literally changed my health.
And Eli Lilly says it's working with insurance companies and employers to get Zepbound covered through insurance. It's expected to hit shelves sometime after Thanksgiving. With insurance, it can cost as little as $25, without around $500 per month. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
A dog in Massachusetts accidentally ate opioids while on a walk, but was actually saved by Narcan. Nancy Rittenhouse was walking her beagle puppy on the sidewalks of Boston when she realized he was eating something from a small bag. 3 minutes later, the pup collapsed. She rushed the puppy to the emergency room, where doctors were able to use Narcan to save his life. Dog overdoses are occurring on a weekly basis, according to a Boston-based veterinarian who suggests owners keep their dogs on leashes.
Mid-America Pet Food, meanwhile, is expanding a recall of dog and cat foods that started last week. Impacted brands include Victor Super Premium dog foods, Wayne Feeds dog food, Eagle Mountain pet food, and some Members Mark varieties. The problem is the foods may contain salmonella, and that can make both pets and humans sick. 7 people have reported salmonella infections since last week. On Wall Street, stocks fell after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell suggested that the Fed is not ruling out another rate hike to help reduce inflation. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 220 points to close at 33,892. The NASDAQ Composite Index dropped 129 points, and the S&P 500 closed down 35 points.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust with 31 Triple Doppler.
Well, we're seeing the Thompson Roofing and Construction Skycam Network. We're seeing a few drops of rain on the lens.
Yeah, we're
Haven't
hearing a welcome sound here on WAAY 31 studio.
Yeah, I heard it on the roof about 20 minutes ago, and we were like,
what is
Are we
that?
sure that's rain? Are we sure? And yes, it was. So that should be the start of what will be a fairly rainy night for us in North Alabama, which is absolutely a welcome sight for us. Here is the regional view. Cold front has moved through North Alabama today, knocking our highs down to the 70s after we had a couple of near record-setting days on Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of rain to our north and west, including a handful of thunderstorms near Memphis, Tennessee. It is possible we get a couple of weak storms around northwest Alabama from late this afternoon through the evening. Do not worry about severe weather. That is not going to happen in North Alabama or anywhere close to us. Severe weather is not anticipated, but a few rumbles of thunder and a few downpours are a possibility. At this moment on 31 Triple Doppler, we have scattered showers stretching from the shoals, a handful of those showers stretching across the Alabama-Tennessee state line into Tennessee as well. Take a closer look here at the 1-hour radar loop. Right now it's streaming to the north and east. So again, Lauderdale County, Colbert County, parts of Limestone and parts of Madison County getting some of that rain, and a little bit moving into Lincoln County, Tennessee at this very moment. At this hour, we're at the low 70s in most spots, 73 in Huntsville, Scottsboro, and Decatur. Fort Payne checking in at 74. Hey, let's talk high school football. A handful of games for local teams this evening. And yes, we are going to be watching for those chances at showers out in Trinity for West Morgan hosting Etowah this evening. Temperatures will be in the low 60s. We're going to be dodging off and on showers during that time. For some teams hitting the road down south, for Buckhorn visiting Mountain Brook, better chance at staying dry there with game time temperatures around the mid 60s. And just south of there, Florence visiting Thompson in Alabaster, good chance of staying dry with upper 60s and mostly cloudy skies. As for tomorrow night, certainly going to be colder with temperatures throughout those games in the 50s. But the good news is North Alabama likely to be dry tomorrow night for Friday night football. So we'll cross our fingers that that materializes. But the field may be wet because we have plenty of rain in the forecast from this evening through early in the day on Friday. Future radar shows the rain will continue to be hit and miss in nature throughout this evening, but later on tonight into that Friday morning commute time, the rain becomes a bit more widespread. Still a possibility of a couple of weak storms in the mix overnight tonight. Here's 6 a.m. on Friday, showing rain in Huntsville, stretching back to parts of the Shoals. And we will continue to have a chance at off and on rain through the first half of the day on Friday. Most of us should dry out around lunchtime, and if it doesn't clear out then, soon after, I do expect most of that rain to be on out of here. For Veterans Day, a good chance at a dry morning. So those of you with ceremonies on Saturday morning, good chance at staying dry with temperatures in the 50s. Better rain chances move in during the afternoon on Saturday, and that threat will stick around on Saturday night and may stick around for the first half of the day on Sunday as well. This is really the most active stretch of wet weather we have seen in North Alabama in quite some time. Between now and this weekend, anywhere from a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain is a possibility. That's not going to remove the drought, but it is a good starting point. The 10-day forecast shows additional rain chances coming our way for several days throughout next week and consistent highs in the 60s and the 70s.
Fun runs are a great way to, well, have some fun while exercising. Why health experts say you should prepare for them now to avoid injury later.
New at 4:30, if you're planning on joining in on a fun run this holiday season, health experts say you need to prepare now to avoid injury later. Mandy Gaither explains why fun runs shouldn't be done on a whim and what you need to do to train for them.
'Tis the season for themed races, but you could trot your way toward an injury if you don't train properly.
Just going literally from the couch to the 5K is not a really good idea.
Orthopedic surgeon Timothy Miller with the Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says not preparing your body can lead to injuries like muscle strains, tendinitis, IT band syndrome, even stress fractures from overuse.
You put a lot of additional stresses on your body when you do that. And not just on the musculoskeletal system where we think about it mostly, but also on the cardiovascular system as well.
Miller says if you're just starting to run, see a doctor to make sure you're healthy enough to take on long distances. If everything checks out health-wise, he says to start slow, training at least a month out for a 5K, building up mileage gradually. He also suggests varying the terrain.
So running on hard surfaces, for example, all the time, like hard sidewalks, hard pavement, can put a lot of additional stress on your body from what we call ground reaction forces, leading to injuries.
Have proper footwear that's supportive and fits well. Miller says to go up a half or full size in your running shoe to accommodate foot swelling. And he recommends breaking in new shoes before a race.
That means training them for at least a week or two to make sure you're comfortable with what they're going to feel on your feet.
Miller advises fueling your body, and even when it's colder outside, hydration is still critical. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Happening tonight, the Marshall County Sheriff's Office wants you to join them in a community outreach event. Return to Recovery begins in about an hour from now at 6 o'clock. The event is located at the North Broad Street Church of Christ in Albertville. It will feature multiple speakers, and attendees are encouraged to bring a friend.
Coming up next on WAAY 31 News at 5, Alabama could become the first state to execute someone by a method called nitrogen hypoxia, and what this means for the scheduled execution of Kenneth Smith.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 5.
WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Canoes tracking rain for the first time in this month of November. Already underway in parts of North Alabama. I'll let you know when the rest of you can expect that much needed rainfall coming up.
The Morgan County NAACP and attorneys for Steve Perkins' family are holding a town hall right now. WAAY 31's Maddie McCaffrey has a live report from Decatur.
Alabama is set to execute a death row inmate via nitrogen hypoxia. Why local activist organizations say this method is cruel and unusual punishment.
It's very important to say their name and recognize them, especially if they have children. But for me as a mother,
Honoring all veterans, including those no longer with us. Only on WAAY 31, hear a Gold Star mom explain what it means for the community to remember their loved ones. Thanks for joining us for WAAY 31 News at 5. I'm Dan Schaefer.
And I'm Marie Waxel. Drought conditions continue to worsen across North Alabama.
That's why we're going to begin with WAAY 31 Storm Tracker meteorologist Taylor Canoes. And Taylor, tonight we are seeing the first rain we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's been about 10 days since we've had even a drop of rain in North Alabama, so it's great to see an active 31 triple Doppler as we head into this evening. And I want to zoom in on a few spots. We'll start in the Shoals, where the rain has been a little bit more consistent in parts of Colbert and Lauderdale counties. Farther to the east here, Limestone County starting to see a bit of a break after some of you picked up some rain recently. And now we're starting to see some showers develop near the Huntsville metro, especially on the north side and stretching up toward Hazel Green. Parts of Lincoln County, Tennessee getting in on the rainfall, and some spotty showers in Jackson County. Isolated showers in DeKalb over to Marshall County as well, but your better chance of rain likely won't arrive until later on tonight. Decent chance at hit and miss rain for Huntsville and surrounding areas this evening as temperatures cool to the 60s for the rest of the day today. Here's the latest from Future Radar, and it shows those hit and miss rain showers will stick around for this evening. I'm not anticipating a consistent rain, so if you do have plans, keep the umbrella handy just in case one shower does pop up in your location from time to time. The more widespread rain expected to develop after midnight tonight and very well could stick around for the Friday morning drive. Plan on a slower than normal commute as you head out the door tomorrow morning. I'll walk you through how long this rain is going to stick around tomorrow, plus additional chances at rain coming our way this weekend. All of those details here in about 10 minutes.
And of course, another way you can stay alert to whatever happens weather-wise is by downloading our WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. With it, you'll have access to our 31 triple Doppler, which will alert you of any rain in your neighborhood. Best of all, it is free to download. Now to a developing story we first alerted you to on our WAAY 31 News app.
Today, Decatur Police Chief Todd Pinion announced the department's internal investigation into that deadly police shooting of Steve Perkins is complete. But they are not releasing the results. The department will hold a hearing to review the report and its findings. Police Chief Todd Pinion again says he will share the results from that hearing in the coming week.
Well, now to coverage you can count on of Shattered in 6 Seconds, the investigation into Steve Perkins' shooting death. The attorneys for the Perkins family are hosting a community forum in Decatur right now where they plan to share their insight along with any updates on the case.
WAAY 31's Maddie McCaffrey is live at the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church where that forum is underway. Maddie.
Yeah, Dan Marie, attorneys Lee Merritt and Cannon Lambert are expected to arrive here in just a few minutes. They're representing the Perkins family in this case. The Perkins family is also expected to be here, and this forum is really about just engaging the community in the case. The attorneys will be sharing any updates on what their investigation looks like. I expect them to talk about the latest development of Decatur police finishing their internal investigation into the deadly shooting of Steve Perkins. Tonight on WAAY 31 News at 10, we'll have all the updates from this forum and what the attorneys representing the Perkins family are sharing tonight. Reporting live in Decatur, Maddie McCaffrey, WAAY 31 News.
Madison County schools could soon have new weapons detection systems. Madison County schools started testing the open gate detection system just this week, and we first alerted you to this on our WAAY 31 News app through an alert push this afternoon. Now the system checks students as they enter the building during morning drop-off and as they move around campus as needed. The school superintendent tells us it will represent an additional layer of protection for students and staff.
New at 5, concerns over using a first-of-its-kind execution method here in Alabama. 2 activist groups claim the use of nitrogen hypoxia is cruel and unusual punishment. This after Governor Kay Ivey set Colbert County killer Kenneth Smith's execution by nitrogen gas for late January. WAAY 31's Matt Paskowitz joins us live in the studio here. And Matt, there are many groups opposed to this new procedure.
Well, Dan, Alabama, Mississippi, and Oklahoma have all authorized the use of nitrogen hypoxia, which is essentially making somebody suffocate to death on nitrogen. The Alabama Supreme Court ruled a week ago the state can go forward with the new method, which, like he said, has drawn outrage from multiple groups. Kenneth Smith is one of 164 inmates on Alabama's death row, where he has been the last 33 years. Smith was sentenced to die for the murder of Elizabeth Sennett and a murder-for-hire plot in Colbert County involving her husband, a pastor. This will be the second attempt to execute Smith. The state botched his lethal injection just last year. Smith claimed he asked for execution by nitrogen hypoxia as his preferred execution method back in 2018. Smith's lawyers sent WAAY 31 a statement saying, quote, "A second attempt will execute Mr. Smith, this time with an experimental, never-before-used method and with a protocol that has never been fully disclosed to him or his counsel, is unwarranted and unjust." The Alabama American Civil Liberties Union are calling for a halt on Smith's execution. Quote, "Alabama is rushing to put him to death again with an untested and unproven method of execution." While Project Hope to abolish the death penalty in Alabama says, quote, "While proponents have theorized the execution method would be painless, opponents have likened it to human experimentation." Smith's lawyers filed a lawsuit on Wednesday asking a federal court to halt the execution. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall says Elizabeth Sennett's family has waited an unconscionable 35 years to see justice served. And tonight on WAAY 31 News at 6, how one activist group says nitrogen hypoxia could inflict harm on more than just the person being executed. Matt Paskowitz, WAAY 31 News.
Thanks, Matt. A little more information here. A jury voted 10-2 in favor of a death sentence when Smith was convicted the first time in 1989. That conviction, though, was overturned 3 years later, but he was found guilty again in 1996. That time, the jury voted 11-1 for life in prison without parole. However, the judge overrode that decision and sentenced him to death. 2 other men were convicted of capital murder in Sennett's death. Both John Forrester Parker, was executed in 2010. Now, Bill Gray Williams was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The FBI is investigating a batch of envelopes containing potentially dangerous substances.
Those envelopes were sent to election facilities in at least 2 states. Law enforcement officials in Washington state confirmed several envelopes that tested positive for fentanyl were sent to their election offices. At least 1 additional letter was sent to a ballot counting center in Georgia. Now, officials are warning election workers to take precautions when handling mail.
This is domestic terrorism, and it needs to be condemned by anyone that holds elected office and anyone that wants to hold elected office anywhere in America.
Elections officials in Oregon say a suspicious piece of mail was also received in their state, which led to the closure of some of their election offices. That incident is also under investigation.
Israel has agreed to daily pauses in their war with Hamas in Gaza. These pauses are expected to last 4 hours. The Biden administration calling the pauses a, quote, step in the right direction to help civilians reach safer areas. The Israel Defense Forces says if Hamas takes advantage of these pauses to initiate combat activities, Israel will take action in response. City of Huntsville will honor our country's veterans with a big parade this weekend.
It steps off Saturday morning at 11. Here's a look at that parade route right now. It starts at Lot K on Woodson Street. It will also do a pass by the Veterans Memorial on Monroe Street and end near the Lumber Yard on Cleveland Avenue. But before that parade steps off Saturday morning, there will be a special breakfast to honor our local Gold Star families. I sat down with a Gold Star mother to learn what this annual event means to them.
There was never any doubt Jeffrey Hall would be a soldier.
All he wanted to wear was camouflage clothes. When he graduated high school, he had already pre-enlisted.
Life was good. Staff Sergeant Jeffrey Hall not only achieved his dreams, but he flourished as an Army Ranger.
He was so excited to be tabbed, to realize his goals and to make it happen, and to be ready to step out and lead, which is what he wanted to do.
And even met some unexpected twists along the way.
Jeffrey never thought he would have a wife or a family because he knew he was military. He was always going to be military. He thought he was too much of a tough old nut.
Jeffrey's daughter was born 6 months before he left on his 3rd deployment.
We're eternally grateful he had the opportunity to be a husband and a dad.
On June 1st, 2009, Annette Hall and her family would join a group no one ever wants to join. Her mother's intuition kicked in when her husband answered the door.
He said, there's 2 military people on the front porch, so I knew, I knew. And he had been killed 11 hours earlier, an IED. 4 men were killed that day in that vehicle, and 2 survived.
His family, including his 11-month-old daughter, left to navigate the world without him.
It was his destiny. It was what he was meant to do. It was what he loved to do. He saw the world in black and white. He felt like it was his mission to stand for right and wrong. I often refer to him as one of God's warriors, and I believe that in my heart.
Like others, the Halls have been recognized in the past at Huntsville's annual Gold Star Family Breakfast. She says it's the love of the community that comforts families like hers.
As a family member, you want to talk about that loved one. It brings joy to your heart to know that they're remembered, that they're not forgotten, and that their sacrifice is recognized.
And for details on the North Alabama chapter of Gold Star Mothers and all of the events set to take place this weekend in celebration of our veterans, you can find this story right now on WAAYTV.com, including that breakfast.
A Madison County mother is calling for change after her child with disabilities was left on a school bus.
I'm Nicole Williams. This week marks 1 year since voters approved the Naya's Law, which empowers judges to deny bail to violent criminals. Anaya Blanchard's mother tells us how she's coping with her daughter's murder and if she thinks the law is actually saving lives. Tonight on WAAY 31 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. This is WAAY 31 News at 5 with Dan Schaefer, Marie Waxel, and Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust.
Only on WAAY 31, a Madison County mother pushing for changes after her child with a disability was left on a school bus. WAAY 31's Jillian Kay followed up with the family and reached out to the Madison County School Board less than 24 hours after we broke the story. Jillian, what'd you find out?
Yeah, Dan, Kaywana Brown tells me the district should not have put her daughter's life at risk, especially when she was just trying to go to school. Brown says Journey is nonverbal and lives with Down syndrome. She never made it to school Tuesday morning when she was left on her Moores Mill Intermediate school bus and ended up in the Madison County Transportation Department parking lot. Brown says the district needs to reevaluate its protocol surrounding bus drivers.
I should have something in writing on just a little personal information about the person. Were you married? Do you have children? Just to make me more comfortable. Who am I leaving my child with?
I reached out to a spokesperson for the Madison County school system just a few hours ago. He says the district is unable to provide a statement at this time. Brown says there is a video of the incident from inside the school bus, but she has not seen it yet. And I also reached out to all 5 of the Madison County School Board members. Only one responded saying that this incident is deeply disturbing. You can find his full statement in this story and on our website at waaytv.com. Live in Huntsville, Jillian Kay, WAAY 31 News.
Breaking news now at 5. Lauderdale County deputies need your help looking for a woman they say was kidnapped by her son and is in danger.
Take a close look now at 78-year-old Marianne Moore. Deputies say her son Christopher drove her to the bank last Friday in a borrowed car. She reportedly withdrew a large amount of money and returned back to a home on County Road 462 in Lexington. Deputies say no one has seen either of them since Saturday morning.
Now, investigators believe Christopher's recent unstable behavior means his mother is in extreme danger. If you see either of them, call 911 or the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office.
Now, WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust with 31 Triple Doppler.
Nice to see a little rain finally moving into the area.
Yes, but will it be enough to kind of fix our drought conditions?
If we can get like 10 more of these in a row, and seriously, like we need a lot of these events to really eliminate that drought altogether. But it's a starting point for us. We haven't had rain for about 10 days straight now anywhere in North Alabama. So great to see at least some rain on the radar out there. And that's we'll start with Muscle Shoals, where we have some wet pavement out there late this afternoon. Temperatures dipping down to the mid-60s in Muscle Shoals this evening. 31 Triple Doppler shows the rain stretches from those shoals up to really along the Alabama-Tennessee state line. We're not seeing much south of the Tennessee River for the time being, but some passing showers in our northern tier of counties, including parts of Madison County. Hit and miss rain ongoing around Huntsville at this moment. Nothing that's going to be terribly consistent. That theme of off and on showers can be expected for the rest of this evening as well. It has been a while since we've had significant moisture in North Alabama, including in Huntsville. 33 days since a day that produced over a quarter inch of rain, and it's been 90 days since we've had over 1 inch of rain in Huntsville. It's been an awfully dry fall. And that's led to the developing extreme drought across North Alabama. New today, sections of Jackson and DeKalb County in that maroon right there in the level 5 exceptional drought. The last time any part of Alabama had that level 5 drought was back in December of 2016, about 7 years ago. So there's some perspective on just how dry things are right now. Current temperatures are in the upper 60s and low 70s, set to stay around those 60s for the remainder of this evening, and good chances at those off and on showers across the area. Here's a look at future radar, and we'll start with this evening. Again, off and on rain expected. Heavier, more consistent rain could develop as we head into the later night hours. So as we get toward after midnight, more consistent rain, especially north of the Tennessee River, can be expected. There may be a weak storm or two mixed in with the rain. There's absolutely no threat for severe weather, but don't be shocked if you hear a rumble of thunder or two out there later on tonight. Here's 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, a good chance at rain. Plan on wet pavement and a bit of a slower commute tomorrow morning. That rain should be out of most of our area by midday tomorrow. If it's not gone by that point, certainly by dinner time, it is out of here, and we should be dry for Friday night football tomorrow. Here's the good news. A segment of northwest Alabama into southern middle Tennessee has a chance at a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain. That would be the heaviest rain any of us have seen since back in August. Unfortunately, those of you around Sand Mountain, lighter amounts expected, less than a 1/4 inch. Quick snapshot of your planner for Friday. A lot cooler with temperatures stuck in the 50s from start to finish. We are going to stay on the cool side this weekend as well, with highs only in the low 60s, and additional chances at rain at that point as well. Veterans Day likely to begin dry in the morning, so those of you heading to ceremonies on Saturday morning likely to be dry, but be prepared for more rain later in the day Saturday afternoon through Saturday night, and that very well could stick around on Sunday morning as well. So another chance at some much needed moisture coming our way this weekend. When it's all said and done, most of our area can expect about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain from tonight all the way through Sunday. A brief lull in the rain next Monday, and then additional chances at some moisture for much of next week. So starting to settle into a more active pattern, which is pretty typical for this time of the year. Usually November, December, throughout the winter, some of our rainier months of the year. So hopefully we can just keep this going and going and going.
Turn the page on that drought.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks, Taylor.
You bet.
2 veterans are finally getting their taste of stardom on TikTok decades later. What they had to say about their success on the platform.
A pair of veterans who missed out on stardom have found it decades later on TikTok.
Pretty amazing. Take a look at the TikTok twosome. This is 76-year-old Wayne and Dwayne Hanlon from North Carolina, that is. They found viral fame on TikTok, dancing, acting, pretty much just hamming it up.
The twins had showbiz dreams that were put on hold when Uncle Sam called their number, being drafted to serve during Vietnam. Well, not anymore. Look at them.
This TikTok platform is helping us reach all these people and all over the world. We're going to continue as long as we can and fulfill people's lives as well as ours.
I love it.
The Handline Twins have nearly 2 million followers now on that social media platform.
They're just in North Carolina. I wonder if we can get him here to North Alabama to entertain us.
2 million and 3 followers now.
We got the rain here in North Alabama, so hey, anything can happen, right?
That's right. Miracles happen. All right, well, let's take one final look at 31 triple Doppler. Rain mainly near the Tennessee-Alabama state line at the moment, but there is plenty more to come overnight tonight and for early on Friday. Expecting a dry break for Friday night into Saturday morning, and then additional rain chances for late Saturday into early Sunday. Cooler temperatures head our way with 50s on Friday and low 60s for your upcoming weekend highs.
Thanks, Taylor. WAAY 31 gives you 24/7 coverage you can count on. Local news, breaking news, and severe weather.
Watch WAAY 31 on all of our streaming platforms and download the only weather app with 3 live Doppler radars. World News Tonight with David Muir starts in just a few minutes right here on WAAY 31.
And we will see you back here for WAAY 31 News at 6.